No. All right.
It's gonna deny people like the actual
The
experience.
bloopers, yeah, we're not doing that in this show. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the HSBG podcast, the 46th episode. I'm your host, Educatedcollins. I'm here with my constant co-host, Shady Bunny Shady. How you doing?
I am well, Cons. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing okay, doing decent. I slept better today, right? Yesterday I was really tired, didn't sleep that well. Played a couple of games, realized I'm playing horribly, blah 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 blah. Decided, hey, this time I will be sleeping fine. I feel a lot better. You know, who knew sleep was important? Maybe I'm, getting older or whatever, and it's like starting to affect me. Back in my day, I could just play all night, didn't matter. Now it's like, need my sleep. So yeah, what are you gonna do about it? Anyways, that's not supposed to happen, but sometimes my monitor is still broken, as you can see. I still need to fix that. Maybe one day I'll get that done. But generally, I've been doing okay. Blah 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 blah. Usually start with the weekly thing. What is it? Weekly overview. That's right. And my note for today is everyone is scrambling because you know it's near the end of the month, and that seems to matter this month for some particular reason. But how about you? How you doing this week?
Today was great. Had a lot of fun. So
Oh,
I'm out of the running
yesterday.
effectively. Yeah, it's not just yesterday. It's like I was not going up or down essentially for like 3 or 4 days, and that's when you know, like, okay, I'm doing something wrong, right? And then instead of staying still, I lost like a lot yesterday. So normally I actually stop playing, but for some reason I kept playing, and then think I'm down 600 or something. Anyways, I'm ranked 70 right now, so with 3 more days to go, even a spree of just first, right? It would have to be very, very, very strong. So extremely unlikely that I'm still in the running. But overall, it's been fine. Like it feels like today, the meta finally clicked. Some concepts like some aha moments where I'm just okay. I realize what I have been doing wrong now. I can see my opponents making the same mistakes and then capitalizing on it and be like, oh, this is so much more chill. And but yeah, this happens. So I remember if you were asked me, it's good to see someone, or I guess it was more of a statement. It was like it's good to see someone else struggling. It feels like streamers.
I hate
Yeah, no,
that.
I mean, in the best, and I
Oh
mean,
god.
deep down, we all have that belief.
Uh,
That person is also having a hard time. Okay, this feels better now. It's like I thought I was the only one. So no, for me, it's just like, well, I mean, every start of the meta is a rough patch for me. That's just how it is. I get going a bit slower, but once I figure it out, like I get good at refining it. I guess that's it. I keep building on it. So looking forward to building on that momentum. How's it been for you, Collins?
it's been good. I've been stuck, you know. I've been having more troll days, but that's probably because like I don't need to be top four in my mind. So my mind's like,
Uh,
you like that's how my brain works. Like I just do whatever I need to do to get there, and then it's like like slack. It's like I initially thought I needed to be top four, right? So I'm just like trying now. It's like I
yeah,
don't need to try hard as much,
that was a
but
real possibility. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, I'm still, trying not to mess up, right? So I'm more willing to just like stop if I realize I'm not playing well. I'm much more, and that's a lot better to me. Make sure that I protect the downswings too much, right? Because that's usually where things go wrong for me. The bad days are really bad, where I'm just like I'm either tired or my mental's gone or whatever, I'm tilted, whatever, and I'm just like lose, 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 lose. So once I get like two losses in a row, that's like enough for me. I'll just like stop and do something else and then come back. And I always like after eating or whatever, it's always a lot easier to be like, okay, now let's reevaluate, see what was going wrong, and then it's like a lot easier to just like be consistent after that. So I'm just protecting those bad moments, but other than that, it's been okay. Haven't really been having too much issue. Like I still like the biggest issue is just like getting bad heroes. I've been saying this for like how many patches? It's the same problem. Just don't give me the trash, and I can make it work, right? But they will happen. It's really gonna be interesting to see how the
I'm coming into my stride on that. I played a lot of trash today, and I'm just like,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
top four with
Top four,
trash.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't like that, dude. I like what I need to do is have that mentality, right? Like my mentality is like I'm winning every hero, like okay.
Yeah,
But I should just be like, you know what? I will go for top four, settle. Let's not go for anything fancy. Let's not level too aggressively here. Let's just
yeah.
stay down,
Get some
get
deflectos,
some
right?
max, yeah, exactly.
Chill. Yeah.
Just like
An egg with a module. Perfect. There we go. That's
I,
my top four.
I know, but I don't like it, man. Anytime I'm playing jugglers this meta, I'm just like, no. I'm just like, stop.
Mm.
But yeah.
That rarely happens for me. Is that when you're playing an Ixia or something? When you're doing
No, I
that?
don't
Or
know. Like that's what I'm throwing. I don't know.
yeah, but I
I
very
don't know
rarely end up in
what
juggler.
combo hero I play.
Like I
I
feel like
just
the
know. It's just
stats
not
people
enough.
put
It's
out.
not enough. Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah,
agree.
you're because like this is a realization I had as well when I saw my Greybow game. I had green thumbs, and usually green thumbs are really solid on Greybow. And if you get them like super duper early, it's not gonna say don't take them, but it's just like the stats were just it's not enough because the green thumb scaling is still the same as before. Same
Yeah.
thing, the juggler damage is
Yeah.
still the same as before, but buddies introduce
So
such
much,
and
yeah.
in
Power
yeah,
creep.
it's like just look at Ragnaros. Like
Yeah.
how many stats Rag gets extra because of the buddy, and there's plenty other examples of buddies like the Elec, for instance. That's a stat machine. There's so many stat machines that just there's no
Yeah.
way your jugglers are getting there.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
getting top
Yeah.
four with juggler is still like pretty difficult.
Yeah, it's not you're not guaranteed nothing. You're just throwing. That's how I feel. Yeah. So anytime I'm settling for jugglers, I'm like, oh god, what am I doing? But that I don't like that mentality. Anyways, blah 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 blah. I'm okay, I guess is
Good.
my point. Anyways, moving on to the next topic. I believe yes. All right. I wanted to talk about just how many people are playing right now, and just like watching, right? Like I'm playing at least more than I would say more than I almost. This is like the most amount of playtime if you include off stream play that I've been doing in a while, except for maybe the practice for the invitational, and then like also early battlegrounds. Maybe I was playing more like early battlegrounds, and then
Yeah,
like
it's super fresh.
invitational. Yeah, so this is like top three, and it's just interesting. Like going into other streams, like everyone's just like grinding. Like it's actually funny. I don't know, but it's actually cool to just like go and say, oh, Tyler's playing like 16 hours a day. What a madman! I don't understand this player, But and he doesn't like lose in the end. I'm watching him and
Yeah.
he's like, oh, he's still just
You're waiting for the drop off, and he
yeah.
just keeps playing well, and you're like, okay, I guess
I
some
cannot
people
do
are
that.
different.
I
No, no.
cannot do that at all. I don't know how Tyler does it. Where he's just like, oh yeah, I'm 16 hours in, I'm getting first. I'm like, huh, I would be
Yeah, like
I would be every
for
time.
me, it's like I notice when I suddenly get like a spree of top fours and like threes and like probably could have won that one, probably could have won that one. You keep playing because you keep
Yeah.
gaining MMR, but like just slam dunking firsts over 10 hours in, that's very rarely happens for me.
My first become third. My seconds
Yeah.
become fourths,
And
My
then
fourths are
you
like
play until you
sixth.
get that eighth where you
Yeah.
feel like I really could have avoided that. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. I should have been done 7 games ago. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And it's cool just to see all the other players just like grinding away. And it's very interesting if you're like right there. If you're like 16 to like 20th, right?
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's funny because you can feel the desperation.
I don't envy that. But I honestly, like, I think that obviously, like top four, top five, even top 10, right? That's the best spot to be in right now. You're
Feels
chilling, you're
good.
happy.
Yeah.
Obviously, one of those people might still get an upset where they play and they do a little poorly, and then they try to get it back, and it goes more poorly. So it could still happen. But like, I don't want to be in the middle. Like now
The
I'm
middle is
out of the
okay.
running.
You don't want to be at the at like at the
Yeah,
bottom.
sorry. I guess in the middle where I say out of the running, safe, and in the middle is like you could still get there, right?
Oh,
If
okay.
you're ranked 30 right now, You could get there, right? Like you could
Okay,
get there.
that's not middle for me.
Weird. Okay, yeah. Well, I
Middle's
suppose I
like
should have
rank
put
8.
the landscape out there. I was like, dude, 16 is the absolute bottom. That would be the worst spot ever. Like, imagine being 16 or lower.
That's
Holy
legit.
shit. Yeah.
That's what I thought you were talking about. Yeah.
Imagine being like lower than rank 16 on the continent, man. That's oof, yikes, right? All right, no.
Making me feel bad or look bad.
No, I've accepted my position here, and I will be, I'll be giving you a run for your money, hopefully in the next one. But it is indeed cool to see, and what we talked about on the last podcast, where we're gonna have that end of season sprint, which probably, right, there's going to be a lot of activity either on Twitch or off Twitch, where for the last few games people aren't streaming, or maybe they'll do delay. Lots of because if you are, let's say, 100 MMR within reach, you're not going to stop queuing, right? You're going to play until the
Oh,
deadline.
yeah,
You're going to play. It's
yeah.
100 MMR. That's a that's like first and a third or something, right? Then you're there. That's 2 games out of reach. So you're going to keep playing until, and even if you're technically only 1 game and it can't happen, you still queue, because the guy above you might also queue and lose, and you're still going to keep trying. You're still going to keep going. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of action on the end of the month. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's a bit scary to put it like that, but yeah, it's interesting to see how many people really want it, right? Like, it's cool.
Yeah.
And all
I mean,
the
this is what we asked for, right? We said, hey, we love playing this game. We love being competitive. Give us a reason. Buzz is like, here's your reason. And those are like Pikachu face. It was like, shit, they gotta go hard now. Okay. Actually have to play. Okay.
yeah. So I just think it's cool, and very interesting, and it opens up some dynamics, and it's I'm like rooting for people. Like, I don't know about you, but I'm like, these like number 20, come on.
No, down there.
Nah, well, it's like I'm different regions and all. I know,
Yeah, no. I will just, I will have fun with this. For sure.
All right. All
That'll be
right.
the last one.
Moving on. We got okay, yeah, we haven't done any like specific hero minion discussions in a long time, right? It feels like it's been quite a while since we've talked about a specific hero.
I thought you were gonna say we haven't shat on a hero in a long time, so let's talk about
we shit on a lot of heroes.
and then talk about why it's like horrible design. Yeah, let's have fun with that.
I have been going into like some people's chats and then like seeing them like get absolutely blasted by Vol'jin and just type Vol'jin is BS. Like, I've typed that like 10 times. Like,
I love it. Yeah.
It's so stupid, dude. This hero.
You have to just. It's almost like there's a Vol'jin in your lobby, and
you have to play different.
Yeah, you have to like hold a coiler already. You have to like hold a ghoul, or like 2 ghouls and a baron or something. You got to counter cheese them, right? Like, stats do not matter. It's anyways.
Imagine playing like Wag Toggle and there's a Vol'jin and you're just like, I'm taking 20.
That's taking 27.
I know, it's so sad.
If it's a budget Vol'jin with just a couple deflectos and it's not 2 high stars, yeah, you might be able to survive it. But if that is a high end Vol'jin who has like faux Reaper and it survives, it's like, oh my god, that's so much damage.
Yeah, so there's the hero, like, it's interesting because when the buddy was revealed, there was like, oh, this is pretty good, right? Like, I think a lot of people understood, yeah, this feels like very busted, right? But like, it's kind of interesting how it's become like, this is the busted, like, this is the problem child in the meta. Well, there's
most toxic hero by far in this meta. That's not even close.
There's a lot of
crazy shit going on.
There's so much.
Like, you've got Scab stealing Whack Toggle buddies.
Dude, I was gonna do that's in the one of the topics.
Sure. Oh, okay, sure.
It's not
but it goes with Omega early, like Felbat or Eliza. They go all kinds of random shit, but Vol'jin takes the cake for sure.
It's hard though. it's hard to beat it in the late game, is what I've noticed. Like I've tried the ghoul stuff, I've tried like death rattle stuff. I've tried like when the Vol'jin, like the problem is like players are competent. That's the
Yes,
problem. That is the real like
absolutely.
if you're
That
like
is it.
mindlessly like giving stats, ooh, da, 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 it's like okay, I can deal with it. Let's play Mama Bear Beast. But
Yeah.
then like you'll have like people, they'll like switch things up and like their cleaves have like 100 health, right? And I'm just like, oh, like what do I do? Like I was playing
You
this
lose.
game.
You
Yeah,
lose.
I know.
If they know what they're doing and they get the cards, this is the thing, right? Like if both of you are giving the same amount of resources, but one person can make poisonous cleaves and you can't, you are going to lose, right? It's like I can make poisonous mackerels and you can't, you are going to lose. So it's a great point that you raised there because at the start, right, there were a lot of Vol'jins and it was pretty new and they were, you could almost always just run a ghoul and a baron and watch three
Watch,
fourths of their board die and be like,
yeah,
hey, hey, hey,
yeah,
right? Like Cyclone dead.
yeah.
If it's like two ghouls, the deflectos all die. But then they realize, hey, I could just put like some gems of my deflecto and it doesn't die to a ghoul, or I guess just swap a battle master on something and then give it extra. Like just imagine that, right? You play a battle master, it's got 40 health or more. You swap that onto your deflecto. You say, well, at least the deflecto's got 3 attack. Well, just put the Vol'jin right next to it straight away. Here we go. Back to 200 attack or whatever you had. And then you have like a 240 deflecto. Yeah, okay. Beat that. Good luck. Like even if you have a board of perfect Amalgadons, they can still ghoul you and then reset their deflectos, or they could still just have 3 cleaves and be like, that's a nice Amalgadon. That's still, my poisonous cleaves are better. Right?
Yeah, what good is
Insane.
perfect dogs when they die to
Yeah,
one hit?
you can
Like,
have a board of perfect Amalgadons, reboard Maxna, and it like doesn't mean shit if they have cleaves and they have their own. Yeah. So I completely agree with you that at the start, it was like, yeah, okay, I can kind of count. It was still bullshit, right? It's
yeah,
still
yeah.
stupid. We have to get used to it. But there was some counter. You'd be like, I'll just play one Reborn Coiler. Ha ha ha. I outsmarted the Vol'jin. And that worked for a while for
It
me. But
did, it
now,
did.
like you said, that's stats. It's like, okay, they've got 40 health in their guy. My Reborn Coiler is not going to win it. So you just lose. If they know what they're doing and they get, like sometimes they don't get the cards. Sometimes they take too much damage and they have an awful fight and, like things get screwed up. But if everything goes fine, you're just not beating a Vol'jin in the late game. Unless you're maybe Brucon. If you're Brucon, you
Yeah,
get
okay.
the
Yeah, Brucon's
lightning, you
BS
get
though. It's like
yeah,
it's a different
but
kind
I
of
almost
BS.
don't mind it just because it's like go forth and slay that Vol'jin. Yes, please.
Yeah.
So it's so yeah. Vol'jin is bullshit. Absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like this hero. Like there's a lot of heroes I don't like. And I don't like, I dislike Barov more than I dislike Vol'jin because I don't like playing Barov and I don't like playing against Barov. And that's the worst feeling. Like I like no matter what, if it's in my
I love
lobby.
Barrow, man.
Dude, I've lost so many bets. Like it's so annoying. I'm like, these people should win. Like so often, I'm just like, they should win. Like they should win. And
Are you
it annoys
mainly
me.
are you mainly taking information from the game, or are you mainly betting on the heroes?
Both, obviously both. But
No, no,
like,
no. What I'm trying to say is, for me, a lot of the time, I'm looking
at the
at
game
the
more than the heroes.
yeah,
Okay.
but and then I get punished for. Now, obviously, if there's someone on tier 1, someone on tier 3, yeah, of course, right? But a lot of the time,
You,
you just like this hero is just so good that even though
yeah.
this person
I
has an
I
advantage,
I
just
should
get
have
the
done
hero.
that, dude. There was a Varden. And now he was like on
Always
tier
loses.
1.
Always loses.
He was tier 1. The other guy was on tier 3. I was like, okay, the Varden's on tier 1. He
Never
should
bet
win,
Varden.
right? He should win. And I was like, okay. And then the Varden loses. I'm like, why did I go for Varden? Like, it just doesn't, never trust Varden. It's like, it tells more of the player. The player picked Varden. I shouldn't have trusted him. Like, it's like, why did I
No
go?
confidence
I
whatsoever.
don't get it. It was like I was so tilted. After that,
Yeah,
oh man.
now
Anyways,
I understand. Like tier 1, I would have probably, and I'm not even sure if that's a bait at that point, right? That's two. Like we're talking 7 gold. I'm assuming, right? We're talking
It's
7 gold, one
just.
person, yeah, the other guy, yeah, or maybe 6 gold, I guess. Yeah, 6 gold. One is Jeeve curving, the other is still tier 1.
So
Yeah,
annoyed.
yeah. No,
why?
I feel you
Why
there.
did
I
I
feel you
play
there.
Verov, man? I mean, I
No,
like.
I've had that with a Mukla where it's
I
like,
do.
really?
Oh, dude, don't get me
You
started.
count all your bananas?
Don't get me
You're holding
started.
all your bananas, so you can be getting your buddy a tuna just to fuck with my bench.
I see so many
Those are
people
great for betting,
losing
yeah.
early as Mukla. I never get it. I'm like, why play this hero? Why are you not using your bananas? Don't you want your buddy early? Why are you taking damage? It's just like I don't like. Anytime I play Mukla, I never take damage in the first like 5 turns, and these people are losing bets, and I'm just like why?
Yeah,
I just,
starting turn 2, you just don't lose as
yeah,
many.
I
Like, you
know.
just don't lose.
It's just
It's
that
like
easy.
7 or 8 turns, you're not losing. It's like you have this shield, banana shield. You're just not losing. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, do
I
you want to
know.
structure this a little bit, or we
No,
just like I
I'm
think
not.
okay, let's go.
I'm ready to rage, but like it's annoying. Anyways, Vol'jin, you know, kind of toxic. I don't know how you would adjust it, right? This is what scares me, right? If there were changes, what do you do to this hero? Right? Do you remove it?
So
Blah blah blah.
you turn it into only until the end of
End
the
of
turn.
turn.
Yeah. So you have 2 bullshit minions,
Yeah.
right? And then if it becomes unplayable, great. If it's still too strong, do something about it. But it's yeah, like please just give it the Sneed treatment, right? They had no problem turning Sneed into two mana, even though they knew it was just not going to be playable. So it's yeah. If this
Then
thing never sees
maybe it
play
could be like
again,
a tier 3 back or something.
yeah, I don't care, but whatever. Just like this, I want it nerfed into the ground. It's just so annoying, right? It's like I've had so many games where I'm like, yay, double Caligos, I'm fighting this guy. Okay, I gotta roll it down. I can't buy a single buff. None of it matters. I just need like Prester, I just need like Nadina, or just like it just does not matter if I'm buffing. And to have that in almost every lobby, especially when mechs are in, it's just stupid. When you have an opponent who's like, well, the only thing it's basically another George where it's like, okay, well, I just have to hard roll for Ghoul. Only it's like more bullshit because when you fight the Ghoul against George, you're actually winning most of the time. If you Ghoul a Vol'jin, they can still just have 2 Deflectos with a reset. They attack first, so the Deflecto doesn't die. Your Ghoul dies, you attack their reset. Nothing happened. Those Deflectos are still fine. So you can Ghoul a Vol'jin and still very easily lose.
Yeah, the clears are more problematic for me. Like like they just have 3 clears,
Well,
and I'm just
if,
like,
if
okay.
you have 2 Deflectos, both with a menace on it, both poisonous, that's
Yes,
you're getting so many
3 clears. This is me. That's that's
yeah,
how I do.
the cleaves are annoying, right?
Annoying.
For
They
sure.
win the lobby. Like the
But
clears
it's
win.
just it's so easy to get Deflecto, I'll put it that way.
Sure.
So like you
I
just get
mean,
started and you just don't lose with high stat Deflectos in the mid
I
game.
roll
Unless
2
you're fighting that.
Hydras. Like I don't know. Like it's kind of easy to roll 2 Hydras. I mean, you make it sound difficult. It's easier than getting a deflector and a menace. I would say.
I guess for some reason, I think the 4 health Hydra feels a little bit more vulnerable than the Deflector, right? Because the Hydras can still get attacked. But if you have like a moduled thing and your
Yeah.
Hydras are being protected for a while, then yeah, sure.
And then you can make Hydras more than 4 health very easily, Shady.
Yeah. It's just early on they won't, right?
Yeah, but early on they don't have an answer anyway. So you can put it first. Just put it
I don't know. It just feels putting
well,
it first
trust me,
almost never
Shady.
gets value.
Just
Right?
add Hydras into your Vol'jin comps. Not that you need to. I was just saying.
Yeah. But it's like later. It's like early on, I don't love it as much. Later on, I do, because later on you do have more options, right? Later on, you can do like that Battle Master swap, for instance. Like I'll give my Hydra 40 health as well. There we go. Or
Yeah, you
I
don't need the
roll
Hydra early. You
swap.
can hold Hydra in your hand and just like wait until you need it.
Okay, I guess what I'm trying to say is most of the time when I die to Vol'jins, it's just Deflectos with Menaces
Sure.
and Fish. And
The EU player mentality, just deflect
Yeah,
those.
I guess. I mean, they'll still run cleave. It's just that's a constant, right? It's always there.
Sure.
The deflecto menace thing is always
Yeah, I
there.
mean, it is obnoxious for sure.
I guess
So.
one of the if we're giving tips to beat it, right? Like one of the most consistent things to beat it most of the time is Omega Buster. Like that feels very good against
Oh,
Volpit, 'cause you
Prester.
just
I just use Prester.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even Prester, right?
It's not a guaranteed. I agree,
Not a
and
guarantee.
they
Like if you're
kill you.
running Buster,
But
it's almost a guarantee because with Kangar as well, you just get so many bodies. It's so
Kangar
many.
Buster probably better than Macaw Buster here.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
You just want bodies versus
Yeah,
Volpit.
yeah. I think that's probably true. Yeah. Good call. Right. That's one of the things, right, where people are like, oh, mechs. If mechs are in, you have that counter, but like, you're not. It's not easy to force a specific
Oh,
tier
just get a
6.
couple Busters
Yeah.
and Kangar and Baron and deflect those. And
Yeah, like
and
that's not a common strategy. We've talked so long about Vol'jin, holy moly. Anyways, yeah, I don't know. It's problematic, but hey. I also want to talk about a minion. The one I picked is Nomi because I thought Nomi was funny. Because I remember when Nomi came out, I was like, oh yeah, Nomi's really good. Da, 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 da. And then Lightspawn, right? You remember Lightspawn was like dictating the conversations. Like, why play Nomi when you can play Lightspawn? Play Elemental Nomi. It's got stats. It gets stronger. Nomi stays a 4/4 the whole time. Like,
you almost always wanted to just supplement with Nomi afterwards, right? But you want to get started.
but
with
you were like, you don't even need Nomi. That was like the conversation. Who even wants a Nomi? It's like not even that relevant. Just have lights. That was last minute. Like Lightspawn the whole game. It just carries you. You don't even need a Nomi. That's what a lot of people were saying. And I would agree with that at the time, right? But now it's like kind of switched again, where it's like Nomi is pretty damn good. Like get a Nomi early. With so many heroes, it's just like, here you go, just run Nomi till the end of the game, and you're good to go, right? Like 100 stats, a lot, very commonly, and it's one of those units you can get early and then be like, okay, I know what to do, like clear direction, blah blah blah. As long as I'm not like super weak or something, and I have like an engine or something, you know.
So what is the logic behind that? Like what is the shift? If you've noticed that Nomi is more viable now than
Avenge
before,
is weaker. That's the shift. Is that you can get punished way harder with Avenge stuff than with.
So well, yeah. So I understand that, but it's not like Nomi is high tempo either.
It
So
can be.
what's happening
It's because
there?
the heroes that are good can take advantage of Nomi, I guess.
So yes, you just okay. So you have bullshit, which paves the way, and it's like, oh, and now
Yeah, but I
the
mean,
Nomi lands in
like
my
half
lap,
the lobby
and
is people playing BS. There's like one sucker who has like a bad hero, and then like there's 3 like okay heroes. It
No,
depends on
I,
like.
I get what you mean. So what you're saying is because of buddies, certain heroes get so much tempo provided to them that they have a turn where they just just do what you want, right?
Yeah,
And then I'll
yeah,
just buy the Nomi
yeah.
and then I'll get started.
Or I have 2
I do,
Nomis
yeah,
or something like.
sure,
I'll
sure.
Zephyrus triple Nomi, blah blah blah. It's like
I have seen that with Malagos for me, where I just have Mali, I had Nomi. I was like, okay, let's
yeah,
go.
or you're playing Guff
work.
and you just get like Nomi, Genie, Elemental Wraith, and a selfless. I'm Elemental. I got that on Guff. I was like, what
Who
is
gets that? No one gets that.
what is this game? Like, I was like, oh, here's a Nomi, here's a Genie, here's a Elemental Wraith, and a Elemental at the same show. It's just like, okay, Nomi's pretty good. Like,
Talking about those games, I had a spy game. What's his face again?
Scabs.
Where I
Scabs is BS.
stole. Yeah, no, it's really funny.
I
I
don't-
stole 2 test minions, and I had my own one, so I got a triple every turn. Because I stole 3 buddies from my next opponent. Well, 1 up front and 2 after the battle. So after fighting every opponent, I got their buddy golden.
I don't know, dude.
It was like
Scab-
that was such a difficult game to play because it's
It sounds
know,
difficult, yeah.
no, I mean the options.
No.
Every turn-
It sounds difficult. It does sound
sure,
difficult.
you
Yeah,
can
yeah,
go
yeah.
like, but you also have to keep 3 spots, right? Because you're keeping 2 Hunters of Old and the Warden or whatever his face is for that. the Scabs buddies. And then if you want to, like, I just sold a golden Arthas because they're just like, I have no
room for this. Yeah, I got
like that's a 6-drop. I just like discover a 6-drop, get it out of my face. So yeah, but yeah, there's so much crazy stuff going on. So I guess you get enough crazy stuff, then you get a Nomi and you get started, and your board is just not going to facilitate proccing Avenge because your board is strong. You don't have a bunch of Acolytes and AKMs, and other people don't have it either. So even if you had it, you're going to be taking so much damage that it's not interesting.
It's because the way people spike is very like deliberate or so, right? So when you're trying to do Avenge, it's like, okay, I get a milk turn, and then boom, someone's strong that you take 15, like, and then boom, it's like, oh, if I don't get out of milk, I'm dead. And then you're like, well, what was the milk for? I'm already like pressured. And you can't really like change things up because you're already invested in it. It's a lot harder. Where Nomi, you can like play it and you can switch, get stronger, right, while you're playing it, and then continue there. So it's not much of a.
You could still do it with light spawn.
Yeah, I'm not saying light spawn's bad or unplayable or anything. I'm just saying.
I hear what you're saying. You just before
the window is less. Yeah. Like if you have like double light spawn, still like fantastic, right? Like
it just goes very fast, especially if you're opening a triple relatively early.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and early light spawn as well. Like still pretty good.
Right? Yeah. So like Galacron still does some bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sometimes you just open double Acolyte, right, and then like, ooh, let's see if this is a milker. Hey, light spawn.
I saw that game from you. I saw.
That was a good one. So it turns out if you get light spawn on, what is it, 6 gold with 2 Acolytes on your board, it's okay.
That's good, yeah. I agree with that. That's a good saving.
It's reasonable. So yeah, okay. Anyways,
yeah, but I just wanted to talk about it because I thought it was interesting how it like its power level has shifted, not because of it itself, but like just the meta around it. So pretty cool. I don't know. I needed a minion. I don't know.
It's something that I noticed today, and I also saw in other streams, but it wasn't something that I consciously looked at. So I will be looking more at Nomi in my own games.
Cool. What are we talking about next? I believe we are talking about what will the tournament meta look like. Oh yes, this is a good question. So, in 3 days, right, we have the people finalized, right? But qualifiers, I assume, things will change. I assume patch will, like, the next topic will be like what would the patch look like, but I assume things are not going to like change dramatically from right now and the tournament. I don't think like, we're moving buddies. No, that's not happening. Oh, we're deleting some heroes. Vol'jin's deleted. Like I don't think that's happening.
Blizzard does like to have patches.
Yes. There will be changes before the patch, but it's not like you will be like, well,
deleted could happen.
Okay. I mean, maybe, okay. I mean, that one maybe is like in the realm of possibility.
The thing is, I looked at the stats, and instinctively I was going to be like, okay, well, it's so bullshit at high MMR, but the problem is that it's probably not going to be that great across the board. And I was like, oh, he's second win rate overall.
Yeah.
So everyone's doing well. So that's good news. That means that Blizzard will look at it and be like, well, this is
okay. The problem is like
everyone is struggling.
Okay, my problem with this conversation is that there's too much of this. There's too like, oh yeah, maybe they'll identify Vol'jin, but what about the other 15 heroes that do stupid things? Like they're not gonna hit everything.
No. So it's still gonna be a clown fiesta in a positive way. There's a lot of clown fiesta moments right now, but hey, we're talking about Vol'jin specifically, so. Once Vol'jin is down, we can start focusing on the next target.
No, no, hit everything. I'm not a one at a time person. I am not a one at a time. Nerf everything. But I just think there's like the tournament's gonna be very, like interesting. I would say, but also like hectic in a lot of ways. Where it's also gonna be super hero dependent. I think where. There's going to be a couple players that get like knocked out just because of their hero selection, not because of their skill at all. Like they're just gonna
Yeah.
be like, well, these heroes, what am I
Exactly.
doing?
The cards are being dealt, right? That's
Yeah,
still
and
in a way a card game.
that's gonna be so awful, and I'm just like, I hope it's not me, like,
Well,
yeah, but yeah,
in these things, if you're gonna win it, you're gonna get very lucky.
yeah, of course.
You're gonna play really well, but you're also gonna get very lucky.
This is why I'm like, anytime anything bad happens to me, we're just using our bad luck before the tournament. That's how I keep myself like
And you
somewhat
have a good day,
stable.
like, oh, slow down. Not too much, not too much.
No, I have a good day despite the bad luck. That's how I do it, But yeah, it's quite crazy how I think you'll see some heroes and you're like, this guy's dead. Like I still see so many Vardens. It's maybe this is an NA thing. I see so many Vardens.
I don't see Vardens on.
And I'm just like, why? What are you doing? Like, I don't get it. Like, do you think there's some strategy here? I'm not seeing it every time they're eighth, like almost every time. And I'm just like, like, don't.
Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like you look at it and you're like, oh, I guess this is kind of good. But the thing is, like, tripling does not matter that much right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of heroes that don't need a triple. That's true.
Yeah, it's like you'll take a triple. It's not like you skip it, but it's not like it's like I tripled into a nest major. And it's like cool. Take 15. Take 15. You did. It's not,
that's rough. Don't say
but
that.
it used to be that way in the previous meta where heroes obviously are still important, but you could play anything you wanted, stay on one, triple into a light spawn, and you have a chance at winning that game. That's not the case in this meta, right? Like it's just that was sort of an equalizer in the previous meta. You could stay on one, triple into a 4-drop, hit a nest major, and hit a light spawn, and then utilize that and spike. But right now, like you mentioned, heroes are super super important because some heroes just. I talked about that. If you have a guaranteed mid game, like let's say you're playing a Mukla, you're just not going to do that poorly because you're not going to be losing a lot of fights. And there's just so many heroes that when they have that bad luck, you just don't have anything to
Oh,
do.
dude, I was remember I played
Don't
Rag.
buddy, you don't get
I played Rag and someone conceded turn one, and I was like, I'm dead now. I was like, I've lost because I fought him, right? Like, I fight him, and then I get no buddy charge, I get no passive charge, right? And then you fight him again, right? So I'm just like, what do I do? I'm just like, he threw my game. I throw him.
I don't know how to address that, but ghosts feel a lot worse than they were already really bad for the game, right? Because you could lose to a high roll and say, well, the only reason you were able to do this is because you fought the ghost and you didn't have to buy minions and you were able to tier. And now it's just like, well, I fought the ghost. I'm just not getting my buddy on the turn I'm supposed to. The game is super tempo heavy. I'm dead. Right. So I don't know how they're going to fix that, if they're ever going to fix that. But ghosts are extremely bad for the game now.
Yeah, it's weird, right? Like before, it's like, oh, I got a ghost earlier, I could do something weird now. Like now, it's like I got a ghost earlier, I've lost. Oh my god! It's like why are you fighting me?
You just watch the buddy meter do nothing, and you're just sitting there like, So I don't know if it's going to come down to just copy a random board or something, man. It's just like
like TFT does. Okay.
Yeah, just copy a random board and be like, you're fighting this person, because it's I'm guessing that that's just not something that they're able to do. Otherwise, they would have done it. But it feels just
maybe they haven't. Obviously, they can do it. They just maybe they haven't.
Well, I say obviously.
I believe in the Blizzard,
Like,
and coding department.
Okay, so if a person concedes turn one and becomes Kel'Thuzad, and for years that has been a problem and something that ruined the game, if they're able to do something about it, well, or if it's easy, right? Yeah, so it's probably not an easy thing for them to change that, because I don't know why they wouldn't. It's just such an annoying thing.
I think at first it was like kind of cool. It's like, oh yeah, you get the free level. People start leveling different. It's like a different dynamic. It changes the meta game. Blah blah blah. It's kind of cool. Let's just leave it in. Now it's like, well, now they just lose the game if they fight the ghost. It's not what we intended, right? So maybe because of the buddy system, you'll have this different ghost variant, and then maybe if buddies get changed in some way, they might put it back, or I don't know. I'm just saying, like right now, it's weird to fight a ghost early because it screws you over too much,
Yeah,
which is weird.
You're almost out of the game.
Yeah.
Like ghosts can still be beneficial to hit, but it needs to be later in the game when you already have your buddy, or you were going to get the buddy anyway, right? So
or they have minions, right? Like yeah, so you can at least get your charge, right? If they have like 2 minions or something, at least you can put like, oh, my biggest minion first. Hopefully they can get like a good amount of charge. But if like when they die, concede turn 1, they have no minions, you get no charge at all. Like you only get the charge for the passive and the damage dealt from
especially the fuckers that are playing curator and they sell their minion.
Right? Oh yes, I've seen that. It's so weird.
So petty.
It's so
petty. Oh man. Oh, I don't look at yourself in the mirror, right?
I actually don't understand.
What kind of a person are you, man? You play curator, you sell your minion, you're out. You're just like I get that you have to go. I get that you DC'd, but don't sell your shit right before you leave. It's such bad manners, man.
That's a good point. That's true. I was seeing, and I'm like, why does he have nothing? Why does he have nothing? Just like, what's going on? Like, I would just assume they like DC'd or something, right? But they just like, oh, let me come back to sell my minion. Very weird.
So to get us back to the topic of what the tournament meta look like, I think so. You mentioned heroes are going to be a big deal, right?
And that is true. I think the thing I'm looking forward the most to seeing in a tournament is just how early people are all inning and just maybe not like quite sell the brand, but already have selfless on the board and just be like, okay, I'm gonna just buy an extra reset instead of a buff just to make sure my deflecto gets the reset and just really, really focus on winning the fight. I think that's going to be something where, well, all the people that are qualifying are probably already doing a lot of that right now. So, but it will be cool to see when they're really, really tested, right? You're in that pool of all the players that qualified. Everybody here knows that tempo is super important right now. Everybody knows that health is super important right now. To watch them fight each other. And it's like, well, there's no freebies. Everyone's going to be.
And you'll see the winner of the lobby just keeping his brand till the end game. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if you are in a position where you can do that, you're going to win the game. But that's why I said,
let the other players fight among themselves, sell their Nomi early. I'll just like, good job. You get third.
Like, your tempo people. Okay. That will be the thing I will be watching for, is to see just how aggressively people are going for board strength, I guess, as opposed to thinking a turn or two ahead. In terms of
I had a couple of games where I'm like, do I sell my Nomi or and respect my opponent or no? And I always I'd sell it. I'm like, I shouldn't have respected him. That's how I do it. Like, I shouldn't have respected them.
But that's ladder, right? That's ladder.
Yeah, I know, but still, like, I don't care.
Every other person in your lobby is really strong, and probably more important, has played a ton on this patch, right? They're really attuned to the spike moments and what matters. Yeah. Anyways, like that's and anything you in particular are like either like predicting or something you're looking forward to seeing how it plays out.
Yes, but I'm not gonna talk about it until after the tournament. Like I feel you. I definitely have some idea.
Not release this until the tournament.
Yeah. We can release the podcast. A few weeks, but I think it's going to be an interesting tournament full of cool things and
potential plays by potential players who may or may not be my opponents.
Yeah, exactly. I do think a lot of the viewers coming out of the tournament will be like, "Man, that was some BS." Like that's gonna be the overarching sentiment. I think it's like, damn, that was not right. Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. When you watch a strong player being put in a position where they have access to bullshit, and then because a lot of the more casual player will see some
there's going to be a lot of I didn't know you could do that.
That's insane. Or they will say like, dude, that's like a 1 in 1,000 games. Like, no, dude, that happens 5 times in my lobbies every day. It's just like this shit is normal right now.
Anyways, yeah, I know, I agree. But yeah, final thing I want to talk about, I think, was thoughts for a pre-tournament patch, because Blizzard loves to do this, right? Hey, here's a tournament coming up. Here's a patch. Let's change everything about the game. Blah, blah, blah. But not necessarily what you think Blizzard will do, but kind of like, here's some advice. What do you think they should do? What do you think would be cool?
Right.
Like to see to kind of adjust things.
You can start with this one. I will.
I've kind of thrown some like little topic points in there in the little image.
Right. So funny enough, Reborn Maxna right now doesn't feel
It's not. My Exna Reborn isn't like it was a jumping off point and just like kind of like poison. Sure. What? Because I put it at, like it was like SI Fin, I think was in the other image, right. And I didn't want to like recopy it, but like it's like kind of poison and like how
I would say the thing right now, because in general there seems to be a ton of complaints about poison and poison end games.
Yeah.
But just look at how a curator builds stats, look at how a Zyrella builds stats, look at how a Ragnaros builds stats. If you're going to be introducing buddies for certain heroes that just give you the a clear, this massive advantage when it comes to stat building, if you don't have poison and you can't bridge that gap, those heroes get far too powerful. So imagine if you're playing a curator and there's no poison in the lobby, or you just go nuts. I'm just gonna play some Whelp Smugglers and Fellbat, the buff of a buff.
And this is exactly why I wanted to talk about this. Because there's a lot of sentiment like, oh, poison's so toxic, blah, blah, blah. But like, imagine them changing poison right now. What do you do, right? What do you do against some of these opponents that just gain so many stats, right? Like, it actually might be the wrong answer. But it's the answer. Yeah, but it's the answer everyone's talking about. But it might be the wrong decision. So it's kind of interesting.
Absolutely. And this is why we've had a conversation where it's just like, it's not because something isn't perfect that you should go and make huge changes and be like, now it'll be better. But that seems to be what the angry mob is like, changes. Is like, but what will happen afterwards? I don't care. I just don't like how it is now. Burn it down. So that's what I feel what they want to do with 7. And so I think that Reborn Maxna is still bullshit, and I would be happy if they fix that interaction. It's just with how buddies, I guess Lich King in particular is a big offender with Reborn Maxna.
Oh god, it's so toxic, dude.
Completely unreasonable. So for anyone who's not been playing Lich King or hasn't seen it yet, so Arthas is essentially a Khadgar, which means that if you summon minions, or in this case they get reborn and they summon a copy, they get more copies. So a golden Arthas will summon 2 extra copies. So if you have a reborn Maxna, which you always have because you have your hero power, even if you haven't hit the snake yet, you're going to get 3 Maxnas back after it dies. So it's very, very annoying. But the reason why I said that reborn Maxna isn't as big of a problem right now is the end game isn't as smooth as it was last patch. Last patch it was, okay, I'm going to eventually get to 6. I'm going to get Amalgadons and Reborn Maxnas. And my opponent is big elementals. And that was almost always the final 2 was one person big elementals, one person Amalgadons and Maxna. And then it was just like, okay, I'm going to try to find some shields and overkills to counter the poison, etc. And it felt somewhat stale, and I can understand that. But right now, the amount of end games you see is just crazy. You have lots of Buster going on. You have just things that completely rely on a buddy that don't exist without the buddy.
Yeah.
You have lots of different end games, and just in general a lot of just crazy boards. So even though I think Reborn Maxna should still be changed, it's not something that's on the forefront of my mind. Where you have a Vol'jin running around having poisonous cleaves. It's like poisonous cleave probably a bit more annoying than Reborn Maxna.
Yeah, I had something to talk about, but then I lost it. Damn.
Okay.
I should have just talked about it as soon as it came to my head.
Just jump in. Yeah. Well, we talked. So something you mentioned, which I think is a good one, is Buddy Cry. Right? Was it that or?
Yeah. That's why the brand's in there, because I don't know, the interactions with Battle Cry buddies is just so crazy. How strong it can be when you get a brand. Oh man, I was fighting a player, and like turn what was it, turn 7 or something, he has a 54 Hydra. And I'm just like, okay, Gallywix. Like, yeah, is that okay? I don't know, man. Like, that's endgame already turned 7, kind of Hydra levels, and I'm just like, oh, he won the lobby. Like, I don't know what to do, and he killed me because of it. I'm just like, yeah,
Yeah.
well, there's nothing I could do against that, right? There's literally nothing that could deal with that and not take max. It's just the insanity of like already really good buddies because they have a battle cry synergy, and then you double that, right? Like if you hit a brand, which you can do if you are looking for it specifically, it's just really crazy. So I don't know if they're going to touch that or adjust it or anything, but it's definitely something you'll be seeing in tournaments and just be like, damn, that's insane. How did they do that? And they have a brand on their board, right? Like it's always they have the brand on their board, right?
I think the reasoning here is that your buddy needs to be strong enough to be worth it without the brand. But then you just times two the
Yeah,
efficiency on some
yeah.
buddies. You can't just times two like your whole. It's like
Yeah,
my whole
what if you
identity
had
is
like 50% chance to just double your gold? Like, okay, like what? That's insane. Like,
you
yeah,
play Alex, you get like 4 Caligos or a mixture between Caligos and Amalgadons. You get Finley, you get 2 golden buddies. It's just like, oh my god.
it's ridiculous for sure. So I and some of the buddies, right? Like I do think they should adjust some of the buddies. A lot of them, there's and also like some of how the buddy is worded, not the nerf the buddy itself, but how it's worded, how it interacts with other things, other mechanics, right? Because like Ragnaros, I think is interesting because like sometimes you steal it and you're like, it doesn't actually help me. Like, but it's unique in that like it helps Ragnaros so much. You can do like comps you can't do with anything else. That become viable because you have a Ragnaros buddy.
You're like Mithrax build.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but then if you
good.
steal it, you steal the buddy, and you're like, am I just buying Mithrax now? Like it doesn't. It's not the same,
You know what
right?
they are, right?
Yeah, right. It's not the same, but it's a cool buddy, right? But the problem is like Wagtoggle's buddy is so vague and how it gets utilized that
That's a good point.
you steal it. Like anything steals this thing, and it's just like OP. And what blows my mind is that you have thieving heroes, right? Just heroes that are built on stealing things,
They knew
and
that would
and they interact so bustedly. Like you didn't think about how it interacts with the heroes that steal other minions. Like I don't understand how Scabs and Wagtoggle were not like, oh, let's look at how it interacts here. Oh, you just get infinite gold. Like how is this not a realization? Like I don't know.
I think they just wanted to let that play out and see it, and I think yet again it's one of a few things, right? The 2 easiest things for me to imagine is number one is they just underestimate just how much like high MMR players will push for that and how often it will happen.
I mean,
And
it's
they'll-
just infinite gold. Like, how good is that really?
Yeah.
Like, it's like, what?
No. It's more like they look at it and say, like, well, if somebody ever pulls this off to have a Scabs and a Golden Whack-Toggle, sure, they deserve to win the game. And be like, you know what? That happens quite often.
I do think they didn't think Wagtoggle would be so playable. Yeah, I do understand that for sure. Like, it's like this hero is like
We didn't
bottom
think it was
3
gonna be
before,
right?
like, oh yeah, let's just give it something cool. It's bottom 3, no one's playing it. Turns out, best hero in the game. Oh, who would have thought?
And Scabs is very playable, right? Even without this. So
Yeah.
you just try because you just win if you hit the Whack-Toggle. I think the other one is that it's just it's not as important and it's more just for the lower MMR player, and we've seen that where there are certain issues in higher MMR and it's just not. It's not like it's not important, but you need to take all the sides into account. And overall, it's like the crazy fun stories that your more casual player can have due to being able to steal that is more important than balance at high MMR. But I think it's probably a bit more of a mix. It's a good point you bring up where, hey, we didn't know Wacto was going to be so prevalent.
Yeah.
So I do think we're going to see a change to Wacto's buddy that it just states that it procs her hero power.
Yeah,
instead
yeah.
of your hero
It's
power.
very weird that like other buddies are very like specific, and Wagtog is like, oh, if you steal me, here you could just get everything you want now. Like it's crazy, right? I've seen Tess take it like just like, oh yeah, Vice, play
Yeah,
something,
up the
yeah,
board,
just
up
buy
the board,
another
up
one
the board.
too. Yeah, it's like it's crazy to me, but I just think like that one should get changed in some way. Like you don't even have to nerf Wagtoggle, even though I would say Wagtoggle needs some adjustment, especially for the tournament meta, right? Like this is perfect Wagtoggle tournament. Like, oh, top two is really good, top three is really good, Wagtoggle is super safe. What? Everyone's gonna be picking
Because
Wagtoggle. It's
how
crazy.
how safe is Wagtail in a lobby with
That's true.
7 really
That
competent players,
it
though?
depends on what's in what like
If Murlocs are out, yeah, maybe more, but still,
I'm
like,
more scared of
both,
beasts, actually more than Murlocs, because it
it
ones
takes a
for
while for
once.
people to get Maximus, though.
True, but okay, yeah, but like okay, but forcing Murlocs early is hard. Like you need specific heroes. That's the one thing.
A 7 and an Acolyte.
Yeah, but
I
you're
do
gonna
that all the
lose. You're
time.
gonna
I
lose
do
to
that
other
all the time.
players. You're gonna lose to other players that don't have that have more stats than that. That's the thing.
No, 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 but you just have it as a supplement, right?
Sure. Okay.
Like you just have whatever you have. You triple into a 7, and then just every turn from there on, you just add a poisonous Murloc to your board, and then you just
Yeah, yeah.
slowly.
Actually, Murlocs
Yeah.
are scarier on the lobby
It just
because
happens so early,
the
and you have so
the
many of them.
problem is they have access to seafood. That's the real issue. So everyone just gets donged super early, and then you're just like, I
Yeah.
can't kill this, and then you just take 25 because
Yeah,
you
yeah,
can't kill
yeah.
your dong.
That's
So
true.
it's
So that
it's
doesn't mean that. Yeah, go ahead,
it's
please.
not the seafood. It's not the S-hyphen that I'm scared of. It's the seafood giving people so much
Sure. Yeah. So
flexibility.
you might lose some minions to the poison guy, but it's fine. But the person that deals 26 to you because they have 3 Amalgadons, you're not killing anything. That's a lot scarier. Sure. It will be interesting. I think overall Wacto is still going to be strong,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Because Nation does so
I'm
well on that
I'm
array.
gonna pick it if I see it. I'm just
Yeah.
here's a little tip. Like I'm gonna take it. It's
Yeah.
like,
No, no shame there. We're just
yeah.
gonna play for the wins, play for the points. But that is, I think that's an interesting thing, right? If you have 7 really strong other players in the lobby, I think these
I,
slower, safer
yeah,
heroes they
yeah.
do get.
I agree. I've seen it in so many more lobbies where the whack talk is getting like fifth and sixth, and I'm like, yeah, I understand. Like the players are good now. You can't just scale here. They'll hit you with a nutty board, and you take 27 and you're dead. That's why I'm so scared of taking damage early, like especially with Lich Brazil and stuff like that, and Wagtoggle. If I'm taking damage early, I'm like, oh no, I'm lost, right? Because I need that buffer to take that huge chunk, like that. I need that like 30 health buffer, so I can take like 33, and I'm like, okay, I have one more loss. You know what I mean? Because at some point they just become nuts, and I can't kill a minion, and I'm just like, damn, this isn't fair, So yeah, that's true, but it is going to be interesting seeing how people deal with a wag toggle, right? Because right now it's like, oh, every wag toggle is great, but it's actually a lot weaker. Like the more competent the opponents are, which is
Yeah,
always
it's
the case.
it's just that strategy was super refined super early on.
Yeah.
We're just gonna do better, but as people play more and other strategies get more refined, the gap gets closed, and
Yeah, there
unfortunately for
hasn't really been
Wagtail,
that much innovation, I guess, with the wag toggle, meta game. I agree.
yeah, I'd be like, oh, tripling into a whelp smuggler. Oh,
I did that yesterday.
that's some tech right there.
I got
I
scammed. I
mean,
lost a 3.6 for lethal, and I was
still
like, or
edged
for
in,
3.6 to lose into lethal. And I had like 90 to
um,
or something to win, and I was just like, why, But at least I was like in top 4 or 5 range or something, so I'm not losing like 130, which is like the worst, right? Like sometimes I'm like, I look at my fire energy of like, how is this possible? But then like already like in fifth or something, and I'm like, at least I'm not like top eighth here, like So it's like it's fine, but still
yeah,
annoying.
when you get unlucky is a big deal.
Yeah,
For sure.
yeah, like you get losing at 3% to get eighth is it's like. Let me stop playing. I'm just like I don't want this.
I don't have the percentages for that reason. It's just too much.
It's rough, but yeah. And we haven't even talked about armor, right? Like,
Yes,
are they ever
that would
going
be
to?
cool if they do that.
Are they gonna
Relatively
toss it back?
soon.
It's so interesting right now. Games last way longer, which is weird. Without the armor, for me, like I've noticed, people are alive way longer. Like I'll have like turn 11, everyone's alive, and I've never seen that. I think ever, but like it's
That is true. I see more equal distribution as well of the health, where I think maybe in the Avenge meta, people got started a little slower, but then there was that nutty spike where you
spikes.
get
Yeah,
so much gold. And we have those turns, right? We're like double level, straight to six, yeah, cool, let's do it, right? So that
that's
those
true.
were, yeah, we had those games, and other people had those games as well. So I think the distribution was more uneven there, where you would just have some people that got the Avenge minions and some people that didn't, and the people that did were going to deal a lot of damage to the people that didn't, and that accelerates the game quite a bit. So there's fewer people, game ends faster. But now, indeed, it feels like everyone realizes, okay, well, I have this thing here that fills up when I do well in combat. I will try to do well in
Yeah,
combat.
that's true, right? I think the buddy is like making everyone like take less damage because they're not trying
Very
to.
part
Yeah,
of early game, yeah. So
yeah.
there's, I mean, just to point out, you don't go 3-on-3, right? It's just
Uh,
maybe you're a cookie and you have a perfect
yeah,
lobby,
maybe
right? And you
Cookie.
play
I can
dragon,
see Cookie do it.
and you pull a bronze ward, and then it's okay. You can stabilize, but most people 3-on, even going, you don't do it on going, so it's just suicide. So that alone, power leveling being not really viable, that's going to extend your games, because that already created a gap where the power leveler will take damage and either not get there, or he will start dealing like 12 to
Oh,
people.
yeah.
Like, oh, three of my three drops survived, and I'm on three, take 12. That happened. That's like the worst feeling. 7 gold against Gale.
I
It's
know.
just like
Right?
three drops are alive, take 12, buddy. It's like, oh, must be nice. So yeah, those, I guess that all contributes, but probably the biggest factor to longer games, or maybe not even longer games, but just people staying alive
It's
longer.
brew cons, buddy. I know, right?
Yeah, okay, sure. I thought we were talking turns, but
I know. I got you. It's a joke. It's a joke.
okay, no, good. Well timed. Well timed.
But what are you gonna say? What was the biggest contribution?
Yeah, so people are a lot more oriented towards winning the combat, and if two people do that, a
Tempo.
lot of the time the combat is going to be closer, where the amount of games where I have where it's like, okay, I take 3, I deal 4, that's a lot different than, oh, I'm going to take 9 because I'm leveling, or I'm going to be dealing a lot more damage because this person is leveling. Right now we all see that we are leveling very similarly, where sure, some people stay on 1 a bit longer. I think going to 2 on turn 2 is totally fine right now as well, because
Depending on
we
the
are
hero. Yeah.
yeah, we're scrapping a lot more. So on 2 you get a spawn, you get Charles, you get a bomb, right? That's fine. Those things help you win fights. They deal damage, they fill up the buddy meter. um, so you're just going to be closer to power level a lot of the time. But I guess one thing that I'd love to see, or at least looked at, is how the buddy meter works, where it feels so wrong that one of the best things for filling up your buddy meter is getting a big chromoing and letting it attack an acolyte so that you get the second hit as well. It just feels so wrong when you put acolyte in.
99% buddy meter. Oh, it's the worst, dude. I like just give it to 100. Just move it to 100. Like if you have 99%, just move it to 100. Like I understand you've done your math and all that nonsense. Just move it to 100. It's fine. Like there's no problems about that. It's so often I just see people at 99. I'm like, well, they lost again. Like, oh, nothing they can do about that. Like, shouldn't have fought that guy. Shouldn't have hit into that mech, huh? Shouldn't. I was like,
that is so tilting. Yeah, please change how it works, because right now you have 2 pop-outs on the other side, 2 other minions, your chromoing attacks. Half the time you're getting your buddy, and half the time you're not. So if you have your 20 damage minion or whatever, it goes into a shield. It counts for 1 damage or however much.
Yeah, double the at worst double the mech divine shield interaction. Like it's like you hit a one. It's like you hit something with 1 attack if you hit a divine shield, and don't double that. At least make it 2 attack or something, because it's like it's so low. It screws you up so hard if the opponents have divine and you just go into that. It's such a
I,
punishment compared to
I
everything else.
I just don't like right now that we're being incentivized to, like, you don't want to split stats, even though splitting stats could
It will help you win the
win you.
fights, yeah.
Yeah, it could help you win the fight.
But it's more
Winning a
important to
fight,
attack something twice.
exactly. Like filling up your buddy meter during the combat is safer, more reliable, and oftentimes faster than winning the combat.
Yeah.
I feel like that,
Winning the combat doesn't buff your meter that
like two
much.
extra percent or something,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
whereas if you fill out the entire buddy meter, because like I had this earlier where I was just slamming more and more gems on a Wrath Weaver, where it's like this makes no sense, but it does
It does
because I
make
just need.
sense. Yeah, it does make sense.
In this meta, it makes a whole lot of sense to just slap more gems on a Wrath Weaver instead of, you have this 1 and 2 micro mummy who's sitting there like, make me a 3/4. I'll be so much better at the combat. It's like, no, everything on the Wrath Weaver, more buddy meter. Let's
To
go.
be fair, like if you have a good Wrath Weaver, you're getting filled every time, so you could probably jump the micro. To be fair,
Sure, but just even if it's so, but let's say you have a 7 damage Wrath Weaver, you're probably going to pump that to 9 damage, right? So it's I guess that is the point that I'm trying to make. It just feels weird right now that the buddy meter fills up off overkill damage. That doesn't mean that I have the answer and that it's like, well, just have it count regular, only perfect damage, because then they'd have to redo the whole thing.
Yeah,
The
and if
buddy
your
meter
opponent's weak, then it screws you over, right?
Yeah, it's almost like you hit a ghost.
It's
And it's
almost like you
awful.
hit a ghost. Yeah, exactly.
It's so I don't know if there's a potential for a different formula if we can just um, look at it from a different angle where
It,
it's the amount of minions, like
it
you.
it'd be hard to change what they've put so much effort in already.
And
Right?
and I assume they've looked at a lot of different angles and come to the conclusion that this is just the cleanest. And that's possible. It's possible that it's not clean, but the cleanest. I
Yeah.
just can't help but feel like it's weird that it's actually a good play for me to play my. It's like you float gold just to cycle. Um, what's it called? You cycle a Sunbacon relaxer just to put 2 extra gems on
I
the
like it.
puppy.
I like it. Yeah,
Yeah, it's like, let me just like burn a gold, whatever. Just get the gems right now, put it on the puppy, and might get my buddy 1 turn earlier, and that's worth
it's worth
more.
the gold for sure.
And it's those things that people are doing, and I'm doing it. It just feels so wrong.
Gotta get used to the meta, boys. Let's go and girls.
Yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna like take this for too much longer. It's just that's the thing that I guess instinctively want to have looked at, but at the same time, it's possible that it's like, well, we looked at other options, and this is just the best we can do.
Yeah. So generally, for overall thoughts on the tournament patch, I don't really have anything specific. I just know there's things that need to be addressed, right? But I don't. I'm not hopeful. Personally, I'm gonna be honest. I'm not hopeful that they're gonna target everything. I think that it's too like random. Like, oh, these 15 heroes need to be changed. But how do you do it in a clean format, right? And things like Vol'jin, right? Like, it's hard because they've already turned the knob up, right? It's a tier 4 buddy, so you have to do something drastic, right? You have to change the stats, change the ability, change something else, right? That's always has the potential for backlash and whatnot, right? So it's not as like free as like, oh yeah, let's just move it up or down or whatnot. And it's also kind of interesting to see how small changes, small adjustments can also have an overarching impact, right? The movement from all the tier 2 buddies initially to tier 3 changes the game a lot, right? Like there was a lot less of those like hyper tempo stuff where Galliwix was dying early a lot. Now Galliwix gets there to tier 4, and even though his buddy moved, all the heroes that were pressuring him also moved up, so they got less pressure. Also Illidan, right? Like just like none in the game helps a lot, right? You get there, so it's kind of interesting to say, oh yeah, we could adjust this, and it's hard to know how far-reaching is moving a tier 3 buddy to tier 2, and doing that to a lot of heroes means that there's more of those like high pressured heroes in the pool. So Um, it's definitely hard to see all of those in tandem with each other. So I wouldn't necessarily envy their position and how to adjust it perfectly. I don't even know uh, myself where I mean I know where it gets obviously I know where it gets started, but I don't know like I don't know what the final product would look like is what I'm saying. Like if even if I were to make some adjustments, I don't know what it would look like in the end if you incorporate
might
everything.
you change some things. You're like, this looks pretty good. It's like, the game is on fire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean,
So,
and not
no.
saying the game is not on fire. Like it's hard to change so many things and think everything's gonna be perfect. But
There's a lot of variables.
yeah.
If you're gonna change a few of them, it might not have the intended effect.
Uh, it's pretty interesting. I'm wondering. I'm just I want to see what the patch looks like because I mean it'd be weird if there's not a patch.
So I guess like maybe like the buffs this might something they had ready, right? Because we have, I guess, Anixia, Rokara, and Warden are all not great. Anixia playable-ish, Rokara playable-ish, Varden not no.
Oh yeah.
So I'm wondering if there's gonna be any adjustments to those three new heroes, because usually they do like that when they make new stuff, right? They want us to play with it. It feels like right now people are avoiding those three for sure.
Well, Anixia I think is playable. Rokara,
Well, but are you happy playing Anixia?
yeah, I'm actually not the
You're
saddest.
happy.
I kind of skip Anixia like for other heroes that are stronger, but Anixia I'm not sad to be on Anixia.
So
I guess
give me something like that's close to an Anixia for you, just so I have
I have
an
no
example.
idea. I haven't made any tier lists, dude. Don't be asking me for something close to a tier.
Let me see.
You can suggest a hero, and I'll be like, I mean, it depends
Yeah,
on what's in, right? Obviously, but I think Anixia is actually okay. Rikara and the other
Nosdorm.
two, not as much.
Like you get a Nosdorm. Are you picking that or picking Anixia?
No Nostormus for me. I know you played two Nostormus. You were happy with it, but I'm not a Nostormus player. No.
I mean, if
Easy
demons are
Anixia.
in, like,
Easy
so
Anixia there.
all you need is one Urzel
Yeah,
and you're a house.
that's too hard.
I mean, it's so for me it's felt okay, but of course I'm gonna hit that game where it's just like, well, I couldn't find an Urzel, couldn't find a Velvet. But it's felt okay for me.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyways, but
yeah.
then I know where you're at, right?
Okay.
Because I would not be taking an Nixia over a Nosdorm.
Easy Anixia. It's not even close.
I'm most likely undervaluing that hero.
Yeah. All right. Anyways, that I believe is our show for today. Kind of a shorter one, but I wanted it because we've been doing super long ones recently, and I'm like, why? Every time I try and make it shorter, but then we keep going. We just don't stop.
Just keeps talking.
Shady just doesn't stop. I'm like, damn, man.
I tried, chat. I just we're done already. Damn. Okay.
But it's all good. Anyways, thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for this. You can leave us feedback, HSBG podcast, blah blah blah. You can find us on Twitch and Twitter and YouTube and all that good stuff. And Lobby Legends is finishing end of the month, and the next month will be another qualifying season. So that's going to be
the qualifying period is ending. At the cutoff now is end of February. But when is the tournament actually going to be played? Do we know that?
The qualifier tournament, I think, is sometime, dude. I don't know. Do I have to look it up?
These are the things we're supposed to be.
Dude, I literally don't care. It's like at some point there'll be a tournament, and hopefully we're around for that. That's it's not that big when we do it.
Anyways, you're not going to be missing it before the next podcast. So
it won't be before the tournament's in April 2nd to 3rd, I believe, and the qualifier January, February, March. The qualifier's in March, I believe.
I mean, right. So the one where they are down to 16, that's April 2nd.
That's April,
yeah. And then the 30, no, you got more, right?
It's 48.
48, yeah.
It's going to be like March 3rd.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to that. I hope that nothing funky happens, of course, and that you have your spot, and then I will be rooting for you.
Yeah, I
of
hope
course.
I don't just throw in the last 3 days. You know, like top. That would be fun. Wouldn't it? I'd be annoyed.
Yeah. Don't think about it, Collins. Though.
Yeah.
They'll just it's like when you're climbing, just don't look down. Don't look down.
Your head up. I agree. But yeah, I'll see you guys later, and I'm probably actually gonna play a bit today. I feel good, so we'll
Awesome.
see.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, everyone. See you next time.
See you, everybody. Da, 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 da.